Alright, so what is going on, guys? This is Fade back here. Alright, so welcome back to my channel as usual, and today we'll be talking about Honkai Star Rail. Alright, and Phainon, okay, and other three limited harmony characters, which is 3B Sunday Sparkle, have 19 hours left. Okay, so I'm just going to put this video here, okay, and to whoever those who watched it, okay, it's still up to you, okay, um, like whether if like you wanna pull any characters or not, okay. So for those who wanna pull any characters, I wish you all the best, okay, on getting the characters you want. Okay, so about Phainon
我儿时的
or
随笔
Phainon, okay,
十分之
however you want
好。
to call it, okay. So after playing him, like putting him in many like end game content and a lot of levels, okay, I felt like I had understand this character more than I initially got him. Okay, so about Phainon, we all know how he works. Okay, so his core mechanics is after when he activates ulti, he's going to have a really crazy scaling for his skill and also his basic attack. Okay, so here um I'm just going to do a quick Phainon guide. Okay, why? Because I found out something about Phainon that more people should actually know, okay, or whether you should have a slight concept about this thing. Okay, so first let's talk
我
about
儿时的梦
his
想
base attack. Okay,
是这样的。
so without his signature like cone, his base attack is actually one of the lowest in the whole game. Right, so how do you check base attack, which is these fixed black stats, okay, not the blue one, excluding the blue one, okay. You only see it from the black stats. So if I remove his signature icon, all you are going to see is he only have 582 base attack at level 80. Alright, which is without a doubt one of the lowest in the whole game. But at the same time, his signature light cone, which is thus burns the dawn, this light cone have one of the highest base attack in the whole game. Okay, so that's one of the small points you actually need to pay attention to, because this is related to how his relics design around like this certain point. Okay, so his signature light cone, let's start from talking about his light cones and also other alternative options. So I'm going to go to the data bank because my bad, I'm not a whale, I'm not a dolphin either, I'm a free to play. Okay, so I don't have all the like destruction like options. But however, here I'll give you a few of the options that I personally find very suitable. Alright, so first will be Thus Burns the Dawn, without a doubt. This is one of his signature, without one of the best. Okay, so what does he do? Increases your wearer's base speed. It increases by 12. Okay, so base speed, the difference between base speed and speed is different, because base speed is what affects like your character's most basic value, and plus during his ulti, his extra 8 extra turns all depends on his base speed, which means it inherits from its base speed instead of his speed. That's why there's also a controversial, or some people saying whether you should give a speed boost or whether you should give attack percent boost. Okay, because during his ulti he scales from his base speed, and also when dealing damage ignores 18% of the target's defense. Okay, this is not something you see very frequent on a Lycone for a DPS unit. Okay, like you don't really get to see a defense ignore all the time. The last time I've seen like defense ignore in like destruction Lycone is like Jingliu's one. Yeah, like 12%, ignore 12% of the like enemy's defense, and that's the only one I'm seeing so far for sure. Okay, so here, okay, after the wearer uses ulti, gains Blazing Sun, which is removed at the start of the turn. So a quick tip, or a quick explanation: during Phainon's ulti, he doesn't count as a turn. Okay, like all his extra actions during the ulti counts as within a turn. So this buff wouldn't be lost when he after he casts the ulti. While holding Blazing Sun, like means when having Blazing Sun, increases the wearer's damage dealt by 60%. Yes, you saw it right, 60%, which is a crazy amount because this is damage dealt and not any attack percent of stuff. Okay, direct 60%. Okay, so overall, that's how cracked his Lycon actually is. Okay, so what happens if you don't have his signature Lycon? So the other one I found usable one is something irreplaceable. So this is Clara's signature Lycon, and you can get it from standard banner or anywhere if you're lucky enough. Okay, yeah. So it increases wearer's attack by 24%, and when the wearer defeats an enemy or is hit, immediately restores HP equal to 8% of the wearer's attack. At the same time, the wearer's damage is increased by 24% until the end of their next turn. Yeah. And this effect cannot stack and only trigger one time per turn. So during his ulti, he can technically just cap this whole buff. Alright. Yeah. So another one I find it also quite okay is Brighter Than the Sun. So this Lycon is Dan Heng Imbibida Lunai, right? Aka DHIL Lycon. First, it increases the wearer's crit rate by 18%, and when the wearer uses their basic attack, they will gain one stack of Dragon's Core lasting for 2 turns. Each stack of Dragon Core increases the wearer's attack by 18% and ER by 6%, stacking up to 2 times. Okay, so yeah, if you spam 2 times basic attack, like you will just get the buff of this, yeah, which is 36% attack and 18% crit rate. The energy regeneration doesn't really matter because he doesn't rely on energy. Yeah, so that's one of it. So here are the 3 base ones I recommend if you have any of them. Okay, and also Saber Cycle is doable. Okay, but I believe the amount of people who have this Lycon is kind of worrying. Okay, so what happens if you don't have any of the 3 options I mentioned above? You can use On the Fall of an Aeon. Okay, this is a free-to-play Lycon. Alright, real free-to-play, no joke. Okay, you can get this from Herta's store, which costs you like what 6 tickets, 6 tickets I forgot, or 8, and then you just like super imposition it to like S5, and then you can just use it. So what does it do? Increases your attack by 16% for every time you attack, up to 4 times. Okay, if you break an enemy's weakness, it increases your damage by 24%, lasting for 2 turns. Yep, so quite usable for him. Like that's the last option available. Okay, for 4-star icons, I'm not really going to go into it because since you're going to use on the 4 FA Aeon. But if you want to use anything on the 4-star icon, just look for damage. Okay, like any damage dealt, like a secret vow, increases your damage dealt by 40%. Okay, yeah, like just anything, something like that. Alright, so next, let's go back to the character himself. Okay. Alright, now on to the relics. Okay, so on the relics, I only recommend one and only one set. Okay, which is Waste Rider Captain. So why only this set? First, it gives you crit damage on the 2-piece by 16%, which is a lot, right? And the 4-piece, when the wearer becomes the target of another ally's target's ability, gains 1 stack of help, stacking up to 2 times. If there are 2 stack of help when the wearer uses their ultimate, consumes all help to increase the wearer's attack by 48% for 1 turn. Okay, for those who have not really a clue about how much is 48%, it's more than an artifact piece or a relic piece. Okay, it's more than literally a relic piece. So with this 4-piece mentioned here, 48%, okay, even though if you go speed boots, okay, the difference is not too big when you use attack percent boots. I've tested it personally, okay, with attack percent boots, alright, and speed boots. Honestly, I still prefer speed boots. Okay. Yeah, unless like you're playing double advanced like Sunday Bronya, then you can probably go like attack percent boots. But if you don't have Sunday, just use speed boots. Trust me, it's going to change so much. Okay. And for stats, the only stats you need to care about is at some of the attack percent, right? But your main priority is crit rate. Okay, if you don't have a Sunday. So here, in my case, I don't have a Sunday. Okay, so for your proof, for your information, I really don't have any Sunday as you've seen here. So that is why my crit rate is 92%. Right? Because not critting is a pain for his output Okay, because his output chances are precious. It's like you're playing Shell in Genshin Impact, and every plunge you do doesn't crit. That's how pain it is. Alright. So here, alright, are the artifact sets. Like you want to go for crit rate, okay? You want to go for speed, and then physical damage boost, and like attack percent roll. Right? For the inner ring artifact, okay. For the inner ring artifact, you're going to use Arcadia of Woven Dreams. Okay, why Arcadia of Woven Dreams? Because it's the best for finance so far. So what it does is when number of allied targets on the field is not equal to 4, which is means either more than 4 or less than 4, for every one additional or missing allied target, increases the damage dealt by the warrior and their member sprite by 9% or 12%. Second up to 4 or 3 times. So we all know during Phainon, when he activated out, he will make all like your other team members enter the departed state, which means there's only one of him, like only himself on the field. Right, so this means he can completely make use of this buff, like 12% times 3, you're going to get 36% of your damage dealt increase. Alright, combined with what you have on your signature icon together, you're going to get like 96% increase. Yeah, which is a crazy amount. Yeah, so that's overall what it does. Okay. Yeah, so that's the relic you need to like go for. Okay, so if you don't have the Arcadia of Woven Dreams farm yet, you can do Rutilant Arena. Okay, because this piece increases your basic attack and skill damage, and also increases some of the decent crit rate, like 8%. Yeah, and plus your crit rate must like is always most of the time either 80% or close to 100%. Therefore, this buff is like it comes in handy. And plus, your Phainon's main output during his ulti state is his skill. Yeah, so this set also works if you don't have the Woven Dreams here. Of course, Woven Dreams is best in slot, so try to get Woven Dreams if you have it. Alright, next on to his traces. Okay, so his traces, which one should I start from? So gives speed, gives crit rate, gives crit damage. Okay, that's all the small traces you need. Next to his bonus ability, we're gonna talk about the first one, which is March to Oblivion. When the battle starts, gain 1 point of Core Flame. When the transformation ends, gain 3 points of Core Flame. So in order to activate his ult, you need 12 Core Flames to activate his ulti. Yeah, so means when the combat starts, you gain 1, you need to like find a way to stack another 11 on it. Yeah. And next, bonus ability 2. When receiving healing or shield from teammate, deals 45% increased damage for 4 turns. This effect cannot trigger repeatedly within 1 turn. When receiving an energy regeneration effect from a teammate's ability, gains 1 point of Core Flame. So there are a few methods on how to get Core Flame from himself. First is his like definitely just himself using the skill. So when using his skill, like the before you transform to ulti, you gain 2 points of Core Flame for every skill you use. Alright? And it also consumes like 1 skill point. And next is you getting like you becoming the target of your allies ability. So there's also here I mentioned if receiving any energy regeneration effect from a teammate's ability, gain 1 points of Core Flame. So for example, if you're using anyone like Ting Yun, Sunday, Ho Ho, then yeah, you get 2 points of Core Flame instead of 1. That's why you see many people like recommend Sunday in the team, or Ting Yun, or Bronya, or Ho Ho. Okay, because all of them can help Phainon to get his stacks faster. Right, which is also one of the core like main points of like faster get his ulti and then enter the special DPS state. Yeah. So next, bonus ability 3. When entering combat or ending transformation, increases attack by 50%. This effect can stack up to 2 times and it's permanently. Yeah. So therefore, you just assume like his attack will be increased by 100%. Yeah. So that is also why I mentioned like you don't really have to care too much about his attack percent, because he have a lot of methods to like somehow stack up his attack percent. Right? The upper limit is already there. It won't be like even higher if you just like go for attack percent boots or speed boots. Like the difference is not that dead ass. Like it's not dead ass serious. Okay? Why? Because like besides saying like This one doesn't give any attack percent, it just gives you damage down. Alright. So what I want to say here is, since the 4 piece already give you 48% of your attack, alright, for 1 turns, remember when I mentioned like during his ulti it doesn't consume any turns. Alright, 48% we have here, and here we have another 100%. Okay, because when you enter combat you get 50, and when you end transformation you get another 50. Alright, even if you don't get the other 50, you only have 50, which is like 98%. Alright, 98%, and not to mention when he outs, okay, um, where is it? Yeah, when he outs, increases his attack by 80% and max HP by 270%. So a lot of people only knows like he suddenly became very tanky, like and very OP, but they don't actually read the stats here. They don't actually read this whole damn essay here. Yeah, so it's 80%. So with that added up, you're going to shoot up to like 178% of your attack. Yeah, and not to mention his signature support, which is his DLC, is not even here yet. And guess what the DLC does? Also buffs attack percent, helps him get more stacks. Alright, and lets him cast an alternate ulti. That's how broken the DLC is. Alright, that is also one of the reasons why I say speed boots matter in a certain way than attack percent boots. Alright, because regardless of how fast you're going to stack his ulti, he will still need to take actions, okay? Why not just let him take 2 actions while your other supports doesn't have to go so much speed, but instead your supports can go to something else like maybe more crit damage buff, or maybe more attack percent buff, or maybe even ER. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to bring up. Because a lot of people have been saying like, bro, my damage doesn't seem to be high enough, like, I probably need to put attack percent boots. Okay? Bro, that ass, if you have seen my, like, upper clear video, which is like, my Phainon, Bronya, RMC, and Ho Ho, okay? Like, dead ass, like, honestly, I feel like it's still fine. Like without attack percent boosts, like I can still get 3.7k, which is like considered kind of high. Okay, not too low but kind of high for me, right? Because every time I was like 3 point, like before this I was like 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, and this time I was like 3.7k. I mean the boss is definitely also shield, but like even those shield bosses, like this is an E0 S1 Phainon. Like what are you expecting, bro? Everyone is there flexing like E1 S1, E2 S1, and then me here. Like bro, look at me. Me here. E0 S1, and I still can get 3.7k. With like no Sunday, bro. I'm dead ass legit. There's no Sunday. The most I can get is Bronya and like RMC. Of course my Bronya is E3. Yeah, that's the only thing. But fuck it, doesn't really matter. Bronya E1 matters, okay? And also Bronya signature like yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. Whether attack percent boosts or speed boosts, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I mean the difference is there, but it's so small that you doesn't really have to care about it. And also the benefits of you stacking speed is because when your transformation ends, okay, it increases all ally speed by 15% for 1 turns. So this in a way also like asking you to build speed, because once your ulti end, you need to start rotating your ulti back. And having him faster is definitely a better thing, because his skill gains you 2 points. So imagine like after you end ulti, you take 2 actions from himself, you're going to get like what, 4 points. And then all your allies are going to like stack here, stack there, stack this, stack that, everything. Yeah. So overall speed boots, I personally felt like it's better. I mean, of course you can put attack percent boots, but precondition is you must have Sunday. I'm not kidding, you must have Sunday. That's all you need. Alright, if you have Sunday, then you can just go for like attack percent boots. Because what you're going to do is like how his arrangement for speed works is Phainon has to be the fastest, right? And then followed by like Bronya or Sunday, and then either Sunday or Bronya. But normally you put Sunday before Bronya's because his buff lasts longer. And Phainon needs to like so-called snapshot the buff. If you're a Genshin player, you probably know that. You need to snapshot the buff, which is like you need to lock in the buff when after you transform. That's why Bronya's skill only lasts for 1 turn. That's why Bronya needs to go after Sunday. Yeah, so now you have a slight concept of how it actually works and everything. Yeah. So that's pretty much all from himself. I'm not going to talk about Eidolons, okay, because I'm not rich enough for that, okay. But for those who want to know, E1, okay, gives you extra crit damage, and then during the Kaslana's extra turn, which is during your ulti, for every enemy you defeat, you become faster. That's all, okay. And then E2, increase physical rest spam by 20%, okay. And when you use the full skill, okay, you get one extra turn. The full shield means you see a big ass meteor smashing down. That's the full skill, okay. Otherwise, it's not. Okay, yeah. Then E1, E2 is like technically all you need because anything above E2 is like just overkill. Yeah. Okay. Next, about his team. Okay. So about his team is actually pretty solid. Okay, so this is the team I'm using. Of course, if you have any Sparkle, Sunday, or Robin, you can also put in here. So some people might be saying Robin doesn't give Phainon any stacks. Yeah, I know she doesn't really give Phainon any stacks, but she's there for a reason. Her ulti can action advance, so means if you can activate your ulti right after everyone take action, then you can like have another wave of cycle Phainon ulti, which is a good thing. Consider it a W. Okay, yeah, other than that, if you want to run any sustain, just put Ho Ho. Alright? Or else you can just go sustainless. Okay? Because sustainless is crazy. Like it's been there for a really long time, sustainless, like 3 supports hyper carry, 1 DPS, and 1 DPS hyper carry, yeah. It's been there for a while, okay, but because like no one actually have the power or the capability to do 1-3 hyper carry, but now since Phainon is released, 1-3 hyper carry is a thing. So therefore, not running any sustain like is going to work also. But some people are going to worry about like, bro, but you say bonus ability there is a buff 45% increased damage for 4 turns. Okay, so yeah, if you want to make use of this, like, don't worry, you can just use Ho Ho, okay. But I believe this is definitely tailored. Like there might be 2 characters, okay. I'm foreshadowing this. There might be 2 like tailored units for Phainon coming in the future, okay. One is Caridra, which I'm pretty sure she is shield for Phainon without a doubt. The whole beta server or the whole internet is already clear about this. Alright, another one I would like to make a bet is Dan Heng's Terravox form. Okay, which is the Earth Core Flame. Which might be tailor-made for this because it says receiving healing or shield from teammate. But most people want to play sustainless. Okay. Because yeah, they just want to like have higher upper limits. But playing sustainless also means like you need to make a lot of fine tunings. You need to play risk, okay, and also RNG you might need to reset. Yeah, so that's technically how it is. Yeah. All right, about his team, I am pretty sure I made it quite clear. Um, RMC Bronya Robin is a good option, and Sunday Sparkle is also a good option too. If you want sustain, just run Ho Ho because Ho Ho is the best in slot to help Phainon get his ulti faster, and also charges up everyone's ulti faster. Yeah, and otherwise, other than that, I don't really recommend any one. Yeah, for now. Tingy is also a good choice, okay? Because as one of the free-to-play options. Yeah, she's a 4-star, okay? So that's all for the video, alright? I hope I made myself clear and you clear, okay? If you have any questions, just leave it down in the comment section below, okay? And I'll be glad to answer your questions one by one and with patience, of course. Just don't be an asshole, don't get into my nerves, okay? That's all we want to talk about today. Alright, regarding about Phainon. So for those who are pulling the characters, okay, whether it's a collab character or not collab character, alright, like your Hoyover's own character, I wish you all the best, alright, in getting them. Yeah. So that's all for this video. I will see you in the next one. Alright. Peace.